It's December 3rd. Partly cloudy right now, about 40 degrees here in southeast Michigan. And this is our herb spiral. You can kind of walk around it real quick and see what it's made of. It's made of concrete that gets thrown away at the city dump. So we're recycling that. If you kind of walk around here, you'll see how what it does is it starts down low and then the wall just gets continually higher in a spiral, and it creates different microclimates all the way through there based on moisture and sun exposure and wind exposure and all that. And each one of those microclimates is slightly more ideal than another one for a particular herb. So what we'll do is when we sheet mulch this a little later on, we just tore everything down here for the fall. We'll fill that in with more compost, and then we'll throw a layer of cardboard over that and a layer of mulch over that and replant this in the spring. So what we're going to do today, and we've got a little bee house over here. This is a little bee house. That just encourages pollinators to live here close to the garden, because this is right in the middle of the community garden. We've got 20 plots out here we can look at in a minute. But what we're going to do today is it's December 3rd. There have been several frosts, and when you harvest horseradish, that's the stuff that's been feeding the bugs. You want it to get bitten by frost a few times, and you can see it's very resilient. It hasn't. The bugs have done more damage than the frost. The frost hasn't done that much. So what we're going to go after those roots with first is just a potato fork. And what we're going to do is loosen those things up first, and then just try to extract them and get every root out of there that we can that's the size of my pinky or the size of a pencil. We'll keep some of the roots and plant them elsewhere, and they'll come back up in the spring. They'll propagate from roots, and the rest of them we use them to make horseradish. You just grind them up and make horseradish. So this is pretty loose stuff in here. We fill this up with compost from the kitchen. Everything in our kitchen is composted. Meat, everything. Contrary to the old notion that you only put your veggies in there, we put everything in the windrow compost. Then we mix it with sand from the cemetery and leaves, so that there's some carbon with all that nitrogen in there. So we're going to loosen this up so we tear up as few roots as possible. These guys are in here pretty deep because it was really loose soil and they had free rein to go down. So let's kind of see what a horseradish root's going to look like. So we'll get the leaves off. And this will all be composted. There you can kind of get a look at the roots now. Pretty substantial root on this guy. And you can see they go a long way, and you remember I said the size of my finger, so we're going to get a lot of horseradish roots. That's how we kind of want to use a potato fork on it so that we can loosen it up without having to tear it to pieces to get it out of there. There's a big one right there. That you can go. So let's see how far back it goes. This ought to be interesting. There we go. Pretty good sized root right there. All horseradish coming out of there. There's a nice big one right there. That's like the master root. Let's make sure we don't leave any behind. There's one, nice one. So if you want to know where your horseradish comes from in your shrimp cocktail sauce or wherever, this is where it comes from. It's just a root. We won't grow it in the herb spiral the next time because it really takes a lot of space. Some of these guys are going to resist me all the way. There we go. So that's one. We've got about 3 more. But that's essentially what we're looking for. So we'll wash those guys off. If you want, you take a carrot peeler, take that rough hide off the outside with a little bit of the soil, clean it up, and then throw it in your food processor or just grind it up on a grater. And you've got horseradish. We got a bunch of it. That's all the way from the big root down to, like I say, anything, they say the size of a pencil. If I take this little piece right here, because it's got all those nodes in there, you can see the little micro hairs on there, and I put them, let's say, in one of these mounds over here. It has a really nice foliage on it. I'll put it right in the middle because we're going to put garlic in here, and I put that guy all the way in the bottom. This is more kitchen compost, and then the snow will come, and then the snow will go, and then the soil will warm up, and I'm not sure what temperature, but when it's a certain temperature, it's like hitting the light switch, and that thing will start to go active, and it'll start putting roots down, and then by the end of next summer we'll have another huge horseradish plant. So that's harvesting horseradish.